All right, advanced. Sorry, couldn't be here today. But I'm going to try and go through this so you can get time to work on the homework right away. All right, so adding and subtracting fractions. Remember, anytime you add or subtract fractions, you need a common denominator. That is very important. Okay, now when I go to add these, a lot of times to make my common denominator, I'll just kind of multiply those together. 7 times 3 is 21. Then I multiply this by 3 to get 9, plus multiply this by 7 to get 14, and that would give me 23 over 21. Okay, now over here, I can use 24, I can use 48, I can use several different, right? So in this case, I will use 24. So what do I multiply this by? 3 multiplied by 3, that's 15. Then 6 times 4, right? So that would give me plus 4 equals 19 over 24. Okay, so adding fractions you guys should be pretty good with. But what happens if I'm adding these rational expressions? Okay, the first thing I do is I find my common denominator, right? Now, what I'm basically going to do to find that is put parentheses around those, and I'm going to basically go ahead and write it like such. Now, there's a reason I do this, right? And the reason is I want to know what am I adding to this common denominator that this doesn't have? What am I adding to the common denominator that this doesn't have? That tells me what I have to multiply by. So in this case, what do I have to multiply x plus 1 by to get this common denominator? I know I have to multiply by x minus 4. If I multiply the denominator by x minus 4, I multiply the numerator by x minus 4. So now I can go ahead and distribute that and get 3x minus 12. Now here, what do I have to multiply x minus 4 to get this common denominator? That would be x plus 1. Now, multiply the numerator by x plus 1, distribute, and I get plus 7x plus 7. So now, I'm going to simplify this numerator. 3x plus 7x, and then I'm going to do negative 12 plus 7, and that would give me 10x minus 5 all over x plus 1 times x minus 4. Okay? So now you could FOIL out the denominator, but we're not going to make you do that right now. Okay? So the next one, right? What you guys have to remember here is when I look at this, I am subtracting these two. So it's going to be the same thing, right? What is my common denominator? I need to make this part of my denominator, and I need to make this part of my denominator. Now, once I have those as my denominator, what do I do next? Remember, I already have x minus 3. Now I need an x plus 2. So I'm going to multiply that by x plus 2, multiply that by x plus 2. Now, if I distribute, that's going to give me 8x plus 16. But now what I like to do here is I like to change this subtraction to addition and put the negative with the numerator. And the reason is, now what do I have to multiply x plus 2 by to get my common denominator? I need that x minus 3 there. So I know I'm going to multiply by x minus 3, but now when I distribute this negative 3, I get minus 3x and then plus 9. So now when I combine like terms, 8x minus 3x gives you 5x, and then 16 plus 9 is plus 25, all over x minus 3 times x plus 2. And you are done. All right? I know you can factor out a GCF up top, but it's not necessary. Okay, next example. This is where it picks up a little bit, right? But don't overthink it. So the next one. First thing I want to do is, if I look at this denominator, I know, right, this is going to be part of my common denominator. But here, I don't want to make this whole thing my common denominator. The first thing I want to do is I want to make sure I go ahead and factor that. And that factors to be x minus 4 times x minus 2. Now, if I look, I already have an x minus 4 part of my common denominator. I don't need to add this one again. But I do need to bring an x minus 2 over to that common denominator. So now, over here, I know I have x minus 4. Now I need x minus 2. So I'm going to multiply numerator and denominator by x minus 2. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 2 is minus 10. But here, if I look, I already have x minus 4 as my common denominator. I already have my x minus 2. I don't have to add anything else, so I'm just going to bring the plus 9 up top. So now 5x, negative 10 plus 9 is minus 1 over x minus 4, x minus 2. Okay? So the next one, if I go ahead and factor this, again, we should always factor right away. This would be x minus 8 times x plus 5, right? So now I start my common denominator. I bring the x minus 8, I need that. I need the x plus 5. Here, I already have the x plus 5, so I'm going to leave that alone. Okay? Now, right away, I don't have to change this fraction because I already have that as my common denominator, so I bring the 3 over. But over here, right, I'm going to change this to addition, make that negative, and I have x plus 5, but I'm missing the x minus 8. So that's what I have to multiply numerator and denominator by. So negative 12 times 8 is minus 12x. Negative 12 times negative 8 is positive 96. Oop. Now I can go ahead and simplify the numerator. Okay, so negative 12x and 3 plus 96 is plus 99 over x minus 8 times x plus 5. Okay. Number 3. If I look here, I have 5x, so I know I'm going to make 5x my part of my common denominator. Here, I'm going to factor the GCF out. Okay. Now, this here, I already have the 5 part of my common denominator. Now I need the x plus 5. So what do I have to multiply this by? I have the 5, I have the x, I'm missing the x plus 5. So I'm going to multiply numerator and denominator by x plus 5. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 5 is 20. Here, I have the 5, I have the x plus 5, but what am I missing? I'm missing the x. So right away, that's going to be plus 7x. Now I simplify the numerator. 4x plus 7x is 11x plus 20 all over 5x times x plus 5. Okay, so again, you're looking at everything for that common denominator. All right, now the last example. First thing I'm going to do is I like to addition, make that negative. I'm going to factor the denominators, x minus 8, x plus 3, x plus 7, x plus 3. Now when I go to find that common denominator, right, I have to bring the x minus 8 over. I need the x plus 3. I need an x plus 7. And I need an x plus 3, but if I look, I already have it, so I don't have to add it a second time. So now, here, I have the x minus 8, I have the x plus 3. What am I missing? I'm missing the x plus 7. So that's what I'm going to multiply numerator and denominator by. So it's going to be 3x plus 21. Then here, I have the x plus 7, I have the x plus 3. What am I missing? The x minus 8. So now, negative 7 times x is minus 7x. Negative 7 times negative 8 is plus 56. Now I can combine like terms. 3x negative 7x, 21, 56. So right away, it's going to give me negative 4x, and then 2 plus 56 is plus 58, all over x minus 8, x plus 3, x plus 7. All right, so go ahead and try the homework. I will spend as much time as needed on Monday to answer any and all questions. All right, I want you to write the name of the favorite movie, right, on your worksheet so I know you watched the video.